Oriental fables relating to Zen and Taoism is the wonderful series of crude but delightful old woodblock prints called the 10 Bulls. We do not know exactly where this symbolism originated. It was probably in China. But from China it migrated to Korea and later to Japan. And among the Japanese people, the quaintness and simplicity, naivete of the little group of pictures found a special favor. And this series has been built into most of the texts on Zen that have been prepared in Japan in the last 300 or 400 years. And among those who have written delightful commentaries on it, we must list Dr. Suzuki and other prominent exponents of Japanese Zen mysticism. The whole concept is an effort to explain the relationship of being and body, or perhaps more generally, consciousness as the indwelling spirit of reality and the personality, which is the always clumsy, always inconsistent element in the human compound. It is said that a disciple once asked a Chinese sage, "What is Buddha?" And the old master replied, "It is a man seeking a bull or an ox while he is riding on it." And this, to a degree, is the basis of this peculiar but wonderful fable. The human being, according to Zen and Taoism, consists of a principle manifesting mostly as an instinct, and a personality manifesting mostly as an appetite. So there is a continual struggle in the human compound between principle and personality, between the instinct to achieve to some noble destiny and the appetite which holds us to the commonplace. The personality of man is likened, therefore, to this bull or ox. It is represented, to begin with, as in a wild and primitive state, living in a very pleasant valley and used to the concept of perfect liberty. This ox, like a young horse that has never been ridden, has no concept of ever being bound to the service of anything. So the bull or ox in his native state represents the individual who gambles about the pasture as the wild animal does, free of all burden, free of all need, simply surviving for the pleasure of survival itself. In the human being, of course, the situation is somewhat refined, but not especially improved. The ox is that part of man which intends to do exactly as it pleases and always has. It is that part of man which, if it is angry and has no reason to doubt its privilege to be angry. The ox is selfish because it is its nature to be selfish. It loathes responsibility because it has never been taught to assume any burden or duty. It carries no load. It serves no purpose. and it tills no field. This ox also represents whatever the individual at the moment is resolved to accomplish. His wants, his desires, his appetites, his ambitions, all these are part of the study of the black ox. And this creature has never even considered the possibility of being something other than it is. And here is where we get very close to the beginning of our Zen and Taoist study. That is the realization that any creature can become something that it is not. That is, it can manifest attributes or qualities the existence of which it is not aware. Surely the potential has to be there, but man cannot be that which he lacks the root or substance for. But he can have thoughts that he never expected to have. He can live in a way that is different from his common and general feeling about the proper way to live. So it is part of the Zen philosophy that it is conceivable that the human being can control his own personality. Now, at first, this doesn't sound like a very extraordinary achievement. Many people will say instantly that they can control themselves. A person told me not long ago that they had marvelous self-control. The only thing is they never had any desire to use it. And that is about where the situation rests. We are all quite certain that we can do anything we want to do. But when the time comes, we never want to do anything very different from what we have done. And if the desire to do something better does come along, it lasts only a little while, goes to sleep again unfulfilled. But in Zen, there is this definite belief, this preachment, that man can take hold of his own life. He may have been born impatient and lived half his lifetime in an impatient mood, but it is possible for him to be patient. He may have lived in a highly competitive way, seeking only the satisfaction of his own desire. But it is possible for this person to be unselfish. He may never achieve this possibility in a present life, but it is still a possibility. For any individual can do that which he wills to do. He can control his temper. He can refine his nature. He can overcome bad habits. He can break the bonds of alcoholism or narcotics if he wants to. If he has the deep and serious determination to be better than he is, and the willingness and the consistency to improve, there is nothing reasonable to man that he cannot accomplish. So our little scene opens in the story of the bull with a boy, the shepherd, or the keeper of the cattle, who is holding in his hand a very tempting morsel of green fodder and trying to attract the attention of the large black bull that is rushing by, going in the opposite direction from the boy. The boy is going one way, and the bull is cheerfully going in the opposite way. And the boy is holding out his morsel of food to try to lure the bull over. This is the approach. This is the beginning of the struggle to bring the personality under the control of principles or of realities. And as the personality goes its headlong way across the pasture, the boy holds out the green herb. And on the side of the hill, back of the boy, is a pine tree growing. And in the sky above the bull is a very deep, heavy cloud. There is a setting for this particular situation. And the setting is the beginning of the Buddhist Zen Taoist preachment. The herb that the boy is holding out as an inducement is the hope that through self-control the individual will escape misery. This is the temptation which is intended to lure the bull to the point where he can be bridled. The hope always is that man, following his own personal, selfish, self-centered way, is finally going to become so miserable, so burdened with the inevitable consequences of his own conduct, that he will receive the first inspiration of leadership from the boy in the form of an answer to some immediate problem. As the individual goes along, sickness strikes him, his home is disrupted, his business does not succeed well, his friends depart from him, and he discovers that this wild life of freedom that he has thought so much about and labored so desperately to preserve isn't paying off anything. He is free, but freedom has become his bondage. The very liberties which he believed he wanted have led only to the excesses in his own nature which have crippled him and injured him. So the doctrine, which is always the evergreen, the symbol of enlightenment, in Buddhism the Buddhist message is represented by the pine branch. This represents the promise of a more abundant life. It is the inducement also to bring conduct under the dominion of character, that health may be improved, that the daily problems that we face can be more easily overcome. And so the boy uses the only inducement that he can use. The bull is selfish, so the boy appeals to its appetite. And no matter how selfish we may be, we also want to be happy. And in our selfishness to be happy, we are brought gradually into the presence of learning. For we come to know in the end that only learning can make us happy. That only the improvement of our own minds and our own lives can solve the problems that make us unhappy. So the boy waves his luring bait before the animal. And when we turn to the second picture in this delightful series, we find that the animal has done the expected. He has gotten close enough to the boy for the boy to be able to put a halter on him. He has become more docile because he has gained confidence in the boy. He has gained confidence in the self. He found that when he came close and took the food that the boy offered, that no evil happened to him. The bull found that the food was tasty, that it was even more pleasant than that which was gained by going out and foraging for oneself. He also found that the boy was kind, that the doctrine which was symbolized by the young shepherd was a gentle doctrine, a wise and friendly belief. And so the bull did not object greatly when the halter was slipped over its head.